What are you doing, dude? I totally realized that I put my stream up and it said talking and walking or walking and talking, and I never even got up and started walking. Ah, that's funny. So I thought, you know what, I'll do a part two and actually go do my patrol. Ah, can't see. So I lied. Yeah, I'm a liar. I'm a liar. Dang, what the heck? Is this a Rolls Royce? This is a Rolls Royce. Yeah, surely is. You know what? They kind of remind me of what's that one car? The Lincoln Continentals. It kind of looks like a Lincoln Continental. So last week I had a license plate that said, what was the name of the license plate? It was Badass Dad, and today's BC Lady. Yeah, pretty fancy schmancy. Fancy schmancy. What's my job detail? What are you interviewing me or what? My job detail is observe and report. That's pretty much it. Observe and report it. Yeah, I'm in the hood. I'm in the hood. I'm in the hood. What is your fascination with the hood, dude? Did you grow up in the hood? Did you grow up in the hood? What the heck? Did you grow up in the hood? That's all I want to know now. Do 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 do. Oh, let's see. Let me think about that for a minute. Oh, yeah, I have a marvelous story. Story time, boys and girls. Everybody gather around. So, one time, boys and girls, I was in downtown, right? Downtown Los Angeles. Anybody familiar with it? Oh, dude. Okay. Just come into my stream, bro. Okay, so, you have questions, ask me in my stream. That's the new rule. You want to chime in, bro? Want to chime in? You want to come into the beam? You want to arrive into the beam or whatever it's called? Anyways, if anybody wants to come up to the beam, let me know. I'm opening up beam the beam I shouldn't use that word open because apparently that's a word that people in the we're not going to mention it anymore, but that seems to be a term for the unmentionables. But back to the story, okay, boys and girls. So I'm downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row. Skid Row. If anybody's familiar with Skid Row, working a hotel. The hotel was basically just like like a homeless shelter. There's a lot of hotels down in Skid Row. I work security. It was it was Thanksgiving, and the manager was cooking a turkey in the oven. Anyways, I don't know. She just didn't like me there. The lady didn't like me from the onset when I arrived. She was giving me dirty looks, and long story short, she suddenly got pissed off at me because I had asked her a question about knives, because she had all these knives lying around on a kitchen table. And we're talking like a homeless shelter, Skid Row, a bunch of drug addicts, mentally ill individuals that, could do anything at any time. And there's all these like kitchen knives lying all over a table. And I went up to her and I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am, but, can we do something about this? I don't believe this is smart." Because you got people coming in and out of the hotel and they're just laying right there in the kitchen. Well, she didn't like me asking her that, so she started screaming at the top of her lungs, and she grabbed one of those knives and she starts waving it in my face and saying, "F you, what, who the hell are you, what are you doing here, get the F out of here, get out," and waving the knife in my face. I stepped back farther enough to the wall, and then I just basically kind of ran out of there. Actually, to tell you the honest truth, I kind of ran out of there, radioed my supervisor, and said, "Hey dude, this chick's having a meltdown over here. I don't know what her problem is. She's waving a knife at me." So then my supervisor arrives, shows up, says, "Get the hell out of here. This lady's nuts. Don't ever come back." Left, actually left my post. Like, I didn't even complete the full 8 hours. They still paid me though. And they never put me back there again. Like, I never went back to Skid Row after that. They were like, "Okay, she can't be there," or I couldn't be there, and I didn't do anything. All I asked the lady to do was, "Could you please just put these knives away?" Because I'm only one. I only have two eyes, so when you got people moving around in and out, that are questionable. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just pretend like, "Oh yeah, everything will be fine. No, no worries." No, no, not at all. Another story time. I was at a homeless shelter. Dude wasn't paying attention, wasn't following the rules, so he was going to be thrown out of the shelter. Of course, me and my coworker had to do the job. We knew he was going to give us problems, but they put me to confront him because for some reason, I don't know, sometimes they're more calmer if you're a female over a male. Like, if, I don't know, maybe it's the voice, is because you're a woman, they don't act up as much. So they sent me to tell the dude that he had to pack his crap and go. So I go over there, walk over there, barely got two words out of my mouth, and he was already cussing me out because he knew. Cussing me out, cussing my coworker out, cussing everybody out, having a little knit fit like a little child, like they do. And then I remember the homeless people there, the homeless men. They were like, one of them came up to me and he's like, "Dude, we got this. If this mother effer does anything, we got you." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." So then I told my coworker, "Okay, so we're gonna have to grab this piece of shit." So I went to reach down to grab one of his leg pants, because my coworker was going to come from the other side and kind of like, we were literally going to drag the piece of shit out. And he goes to kick me. He goes and tries to kick me. And I jumped to the side. And then I just remember the homeless guys, the guys that lived there that were putting up with his crap, they just jumped, like they couldn't wait. They just jumped in, picked him up like a freaking rag doll, and just threw him out the damn door, like literally like trash, like trash, okay? They threw him out. 2 days later, one of the people that lived in the shelter comes up to me and says, "Hey, Cruz, guess what? dude that was giving you hell the other day, he's got two broken legs and he's in the hospital. But it's not about being tough, dude. This isn't about being tough, okay? Get over the tough stuff. What is it with you and tough? This isn't about. This is just a job, dude. It's just a job. It's not about being tough. It's just, you got a job and you got to do it, and so you do it. And so then let me think of any other ones. Um, 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 um. Let's see. Hmm. Any other weapons? I can't think of anything right now, but if I remember, I'll let you know. So yeah, so that's probably the worst one was that lady waving that knife in my face, because she was, I mean, it was like a full on butcher, like one of those big carving knives because she was cooking a turkey. It was Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, I don't know. But she went nuts on me. Let's see. I hope not, bro. I hope not. Glory to God. Please let it not be true. Please, Lord, Father God, in the name of your Son Jesus, let it not be my job for my whole of my life. I pray that not be the be the case, because I do not want to be doing this job for the whole of my life, or the whole of my lifetime of being able to work, I should say, because I'm sure after a while I won't be able to work. There is a point of time where we can't work anymore, I'm guessing. I mean, I guess that's not true though. I mean, you can pretty much work until you know till your end of your days. But no, I would not want to be doing this job till the end of my days. What, bro? Why are you laughing, dude? Are you laughing because I was praying? Are you laughing at my prayer, bro? How dare you? Are there benefits? What do you mean benefits? Are you talking about like health benefits? Yeah, I mean, there is, but I mean, you have to pay for it. And it's not cheap, it's expensive. But I'm one of those people that I don't trust our health system here in the United States. I don't trust them at all. I don't. Most of them are run by these government officials that they're just trying to sell drugs. That's how I see most healthcare systems, especially Kaiser. My experience with Kaiser was horrendous. I would. The thing that I keep telling people with all this COVID business is stay out of the emergency rooms. Just stay out of them. If you have an emergency, don't go to the emergency room. If it's not an actual like life or death emergency where you're like death is at your door, don't go to the emergency room. Not here in the United States, anyways. If you can help it, go to your own doctor, go to a urgent care, go to a clinic, go anywhere, but just don't go to an emergency room. Stay out of emergency rooms. That's my number one advice to anyone who is has to deal with the healthcare system in the United States of America. But that's my own personal opinion, and my experience is that it's always been never a good experience when I've had to deal with doctors or nurses or healthcare in general. During COVID, I went to go have a test done, and I went to a local clinic, and even then you have to even be careful because I went to a local clinic because I wasn't gonna try to go to the emergency room just to get a test, of course. And I went in there and they asked me instead of like them making the decision. They asked me, so which test would you like to take? Would you like the swab or do you want us to take blood? And I'm like, what the heck? Why are they asking me what I want? Don't you know what you're doing? Like, you're asking the patient. So I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, if you're going to give me choices, then I'll take them both. I said, well, give me both. Give me the swab and take my blood. Since, can you do both? I remember I told the nurse and she's like, yeah, sure. So she gives me the swab, that big old giant uh, cotton swab. To me, it just looks like a big giant Q-tip. And she goes and she does what they do, and how they swipe it in your throat, and then she goes to leave, and I'm like, okay. She doesn't say anything. And that's the other weird thing about the way they behave. Like, they don't speak to you. They're like robots, some of these nurses and doctors. They're just like functioning human robots. And she just leaves the room, doesn't say anything to me, like, what's next or this, that, and the other. Nothing. She just swabs and goes and leaves. And I'm just like sitting there waiting. And then finally, some dude walks in with a little tray, like to take blood. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the next step. So he goes to put the little band on, how they put the little band on your arm, and to take the blood. And he goes and he does, and he takes the blood, right? And then he puts a band-aid on me, and then he's like, oh, okay, so everything's done. We'll give you the results, so just look out for an email. I'm like, okay, bro. And so then I walk out, and then as I went to move my arm, like to like walk out, like, how you swing your arm, the band-aid, first of all, the band-aid was useless. All of a sudden, I had blood spewing out of my arm like a freaking water fountain. It was just going psh, and it was just spraying all over the floor. My blood was just all over the clinic floor. Like, not in the little room where they were examining or giving me the test or taking my blood, but outside where all the public and everybody, all the workers and everybody was out there with the receptionist. So my blood was just spewed all over the floor. It was all on my shoe, it was on my arm. And I just remember, like, I don't know what it was. I guess just because of memory, I just lifted my arm up way high up over my head, and I just remember just saying, "Hey, hello, somebody, can somebody help me here?" And I just remember one of the older nurses. She turns around and her eyes turn as big as saucers, and she's just like looking down at the floor because all the blood's like all over the floor, dripping down my arm, all like crazy and like a freaking nightmare. And she runs, literally runs towards me, and she has like this like cotton towel or something. She had something in her hand, and she goes and she grabs my arm and she just starts trying to like clean up all the blood off of my arm. And then she tells me, "Oh, could you please go back into the room?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And I'm like, "What the heck? Like, I've never, I've had tons of times where they take blood, and this has never happened. Like, what the heck?" No explanation, no nothing, no, oh, this sometimes happen when nothing. All she kept saying was, oh, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I kept saying, but you didn't do this. Where's the person who did this? Like, that person was nowhere to be found. The guy who took my blood, nowhere to be found. I couldn't see him anywhere because I wanted to say to him, hey, dude, did you just graduate yesterday or what the heck? And that was my experience going to the doctors to get the COVID test to see if I had COVID. And so, I mean, I have like so many stories like that of going to the doctor or going to the nurses and just crap happening. things going wrong, stuff just being a nightmare experience. So at this point in my life, I don't trust the medical system here. I don't trust the healthcare system here. I just feel like it's a scary place to go, and you never know what's going to happen. And I truly believe that I have like a phobia now. And as far as your question with the COVID business, I feel that that is a private medical question. And I at this time I keep telling everybody I'm going to refuse to respond to that question, because that's something that only me and my medical doctor should know information about me. So I'm not trying to be rude or trying to be what is it? I'm not trying to just just be rude about it or whatever. I'm just saying that I feel that that information is private, especially with the current environment that we live in right now, where everybody's divided over this ridiculous stupidity, and people are like taking sides, and there's this all this division, and it's like, you know what, we're better off just like seeing it as plainly as can be. This is a medical procedure that's performed by a medical practitioner, and since it is that, that is something that's private between you and your medical practitioner, and that shouldn't be something that you have to go out and tell the whole world about. That shouldn't be something that someone is going to use against you or support you as some kind of political agenda, because that's what this COVID has turned into. It's turned into this, it's been politicized, and it's caused division, and it's caused a lot of pain and suffering, because people, want to take sides when they actually should just look at it with some common sense and just say, hey, this is a decision that every individual human being has to make. And it's their choice as to whether or not they want to make the decision either way or the other. And there shouldn't be this like this rally call to demonize and hate and treat anybody differently because of their decision, either way, on both sides. But it just seems like, for some reason, I don't know if it's boredom, there's no news, there's nothing new going on in the world, and so we just have to make up drama for the purpose of drama. Sometimes I think that that's what it is. Distract from the real issues that are going on in this world, and take away from the reality of life, to focus on some stupid BS about whether or not somebody did or somebody didn't get their vaccine. It's not about a vaccine. This is about choices. Again, we're going to go back to the choice analogy. Okay, the freedom of choice. The freedom of choice. The freedom of choice matters. Like I keep telling people, like, all this COVID stuff. They've really stepped on our toes. I mean, they've run us over with taking our rights. They've limited our rights to movement. They've limited our rights to access. They've limited us in our freedoms. And I'm not cool with that. I'm not down with it. I'm not cool with somebody limiting my freedom and using the excuse that limiting my freedom is so that it could save lives. No, that doesn't compute in my computer brain. In my brain, one and one doesn't make four. Okay, two and three doesn't make seven. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None of this stuff that they're doing makes any kind of sense at all. And those people who want to run and say, oh, it's because it's, this is going to save lives, and you're selfish, and people are selfish, and why aren't you thinking about other people? This isn't about other people. This is about individual choices, individual freedoms to make a choice. This isn't about guilt and shame and making people, forcibly making people do something against their will. That is not a freedom. So I'm going to go now because I'm going on a tangent now, and I don't want to go over my go over my. Oh shoot. Okay, I gotta go now. Okay, bye. Bye.